Good. Okay. What's wrong? Oh, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Sorry.
Guys, it's Thursday night. It's 7 o'clock ish. Ish.
We work.
We do things on the ish.
Yes.
That means it's time for Thursday Night Live at the Gun Shop. And have we got a show for you guys tonight? It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to throw a lot of information at you really fast. And if you ever wondered why, what, or where, tonight's the show for you. As normal, we're going to kind of talk around here a second, waiting on some folks to get logged in.
We got 4.
Yeah, they're coming on.
Yep.
Get them here.
So tonight, the show is brought to you by After Action. Of course, that was the first of our coffee line, aged in bourbon barrels right there on the Bourbon Trail. Smells good, tastes good,
It really
and
was.
is non-alcoholic.
It really smells like bourbon.
John Miller says hi, guys.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Yeah, so I will read you the intro for this coffee. WHMC introduces the first of our new coffee line. After a great hunt with friends in the duck blind, after being in the deer stand all day, after the buildings have been blown up and the bad guys have been subdued, kick back with After Action, WHMC's Bourbon Blend Coffee. The people who give it all
For the people.
for the people who give it all. Relax, get to your happy place, drink After Action, and water the tree of liberty with the tears of liberals.
I'm going to drink to that.
I'm going to drink to
I like
that.
that.
The blood of our enemies.
That's good.
All right, guys, so tonight we're going to have a great show for you. We're going to talk about guns that have been forgotten over the years. Some great rifles, some great designs, some really cool history. So we've got...
You need to move your coffee.
You're blocking Brother Craddock. Even if the bastard won't come do the show with us.
No, because you don't block the Craddock mug. That mug is very
That's as
important.
close as I can get to him coming on the show.
Yeah.
I can't even shame him into it.
Come on, Paul.
We need to just put a mask on him so nobody can see him.
I offered to go to the you know where the wrestlers get their masks down there in Memphis.
Get a Rey Mysterio Jr. man.
yes,
I mean,
a
I really
luchador
did.
mask.
Then I told him I'd get him a furry mask.
Oh, goodness. That's even worse.
NBC specials where he's all blacked out.
Yeah,
Wait,
and
well,
modulate his
voice.
voice.
Voice changer.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, try to get. I will introduce our guest here in a moment. We're gonna try to get through some of this stuff first. Some of the things coming up in the area that you might want to know about. Turkeys for Tomorrow, great organization doing a lot of research and development, and just a lot of good stuff coming out of them for rehabbing the turkey population. They're having their event March 1st at Crenshaw's Barn in Trenton. This is the shotgun of the year for them, which they commission us each year to make, and we do
Let's
only.
not watch the barrel.
We only do one like it. No 2 years will be the same, and we don't repeat that same pattern on any other gun, so they're one of a kind. This year's is a Rite Masamara, 3-inch Magnum 20 gauge. Of course, with the TFT logos.
Turkey.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
the chapter name, and we got a little turkey over here in full strut with, he's a long beard. Y'all can see that hanging down there.
In the 2025 show.
Of course, the year, and then we flip it over here, and here's where he's been strutting. You can see his tracks. That's where he's been strutting around.
You better watch out over there.
So that'll be
I can handle a long barrel.
one
I've got a grenade.
of the.
Mike DeLong says, good evening, Tom. David
Hey,
Eno
Mike.
says, hello.
Hey, Dave.
Will Woods, what's up?
Well, you need to be on here with us too.
We've got Bird just joined us.
Bird.
Julius.
Where have you been?
He watches almost every week.
Yeah, but he don't come see us no more. Don't call us. I don't think he loves us anymore.
Heartbreak.
Way to call somebody out there, Tom.
Oh, he will. He'll throw you right under that bus. He will.
That's not throwing anybody under a
Keys
bus.
at.
Oh,
I'm
you
just gonna
will.
give you the keys so you can run me over as well.
So anyway, we've got the TFT event coming up March 1st at Crenshaw's Barn there in Trenton.
Great event.
It will be. It'll be a good time. I know. So you're going to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll be there. Steph will be there.
I'll be there.
So you going to be there?
No,
Yes.
I got drill.
You'll be
March
you'll be
1st.
drill.
We did army stuff.
You got to go play soldier.
Yeah.
Okay. Then moving on to GOA.
Goodness.
Goals. I'll remind you again, Gun Owners of America Leadership Summit. It's kind of like their version of the NRA show or the SHOT Show. It's going to be in Knoxville, August 9th and 10th. If you're a GOA member, there is no admission charge. They've got a lot of great stuff planned, a lot more coming online. I know we will be there. You might even see a few WHMC custom rifles floating around in there.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking forward to that, and it's gonna be a good time. We're going to see a lot of people we ain't seen in a minute, and you guys can come by and say hi and enjoy it. And Knoxville's a cool town to hang out in.
John Ketchum said, good looking gun, y'all. Christy and Jason Harrison, what's happening, Mr. Tom?
Hey guys,
Chris, Jennifer, Dunn, Maiden, shout out to Joshua.
Joshua! That's me.
Yes, that is you.
shout out then.
I had to get that in there. I'm sorry.
Coffee that I've never had before.
What do you think about it?
It's really good, actually. It's a subtle hint.
Your life has changed.
It really is.
Forever.
Now we have another new product we're going to bring in. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's a syrup
Okay.
that mixes to your coffee.
What's the alcohol level?
It's still non-alcoholic.
okay.
Go to the kitchen for that.
Um,
I didn't say whose
but
kitchen.
it's bourbon vanilla
This is good, though. Like,
and mixed into that because I've tried it because I drink my coffee black.
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
Yes.
but I had to try a little of this with that.
It's banging in this. I tried it last time I had the.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
it's the only thing that I will put in coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, you put that, it just brings that bourbon flavor to the top, and the vanilla. You know how vanilla goes with good bourbon
Yeah,
anyway.
for sure.
So
Yeah, this is really good. It's got a subtle hint of bourbon, and I smelt it before I tasted it, and I put it right here, and I'm like,
I didn't pour any bourbon in there, I promise.
Steph, what'd you do?
I did not.
On this carnivore diet, that's as close as I get to
Yeah.
here,
something.
see you sniff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Are you intoxicated from that?
Maybe.
Okay. So, moving
back
on
to
from
business.
GOA. If you're not a member of GOA, you should be. Tennessee Firearms Association, TFA's got 2 events coming up. One fairly quickly. It's in April 24th. You go to contact either John, go to the website, TFA website. If you're interested, get in contact with John Harris,
Richard Archie.
Richard Archie. If you can't reach them, you can call me. I'll try to help them
If there's tickets left.
if there's tickets left. This is a private event. It's in the Nashville area at Mount Richmore. For those of you who don't know, that's John Rich's house. It's approximately $1,000 a person to attend.
And he's got a pool in the shape of a guitar at his house, I believe.
Oh, awesome.
He does.
Just to wrap
They're
it back.
they're going to play. They're going to play a little show for everybody, and should be a really good time. There's going to be auctions on.
There's gonna be a really nice rifle there.
Yeah, that's a strong possibility. Yeah, it's going to happen. So we are building a very, very special
Do we know what caliber this special rifle is?
300 PRC. We do know.
Mm.
And yeah,
That's going to be a good one.
and we've talked to some of our friends that specialize in that that really long range stuff, and they're really good at it. So they're going to do some test targets for us out there at about a mile.
Awesome.
So hopefully we're going to have a 100-yard, 1,000-yard, and a 1 mile target to show with the gun.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so that should be a good time. But that's April 24th. Contact John Harris, Richard Archie. If you can't reach either one of them, get a hold of me. I'll help. But it's about $1,000 a person. It's very limited. The number of people, I think it's 100.
150.
150. Okay, 150 people. And when that's sold out, that's sold out. And then on September 6th in Lebanon is the TFA annual meeting. This is the 30th anniversary for TFA, guys. So it's a big year. Hopefully this is going to be a really big annual event. And we're going to have some surprises at the auction this year.
Yours
What?
is red. I'm sorry, we got an issue here. I just noticed that one's red. You've turned it off.
It's green over here.
It's green now.
No, it's red there, and it's green there.
That doesn't make sense.
One side is green, one side is red. So it's half on.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
you could be a pessimist and say it's half off.
I could.
But anyway,
I'm sorry about that.
so anyway, that's the TFA events coming up. Now, here's one nobody knows about, unless you've been in here today. WHMC is going to throw our 53rd banging birthday bash. 53 years.
That's huge.
And that's going to be March 7th and 8th. It's a Friday and Saturday. We'll run 9 to 5 both days. It's our birthday. You're going to get the gifts. I know that's kind of an old cheesy line, but it's true. Our birthday, you get the gifts. We're going to have a lot of things that you would not think of us marking down. A lot of it marked down 53%. We'll have some guns out here from 80 to 90% off. We'll have, we're going to have such a great deal on optics you'll be able to see in the future.
Wow.
Goodness. Oh, that's bad.
I know it's bad,
In the long range.
but it got giggles.
It did.
Would you like some cheese with that cord?
But people remember it.
This is
They
true.
will.
It's like when you eat Cheetos, 15 minutes later, you got to have some more. Do you remember how good that cheesy stuff was?
Ron White did.
And with that, we're going to move over to Josh, who's going to talk to you about an event coming up with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, something we're always glad to support.
Absolutely. So the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, we're having our sporting clay tournament. It's an annual thing now, sponsored by Ron Knight with Knight Farms. So it's Saturday, March 29th, at the Clays at Lone Oak Farm in Middleton, Tennessee. The event starts at 8 a.m. There's going to be 2 different flights. It's going to be a morning flight and an evening flight. Would you guys mind to post this?
No,
I
we'll
will.
post it.
Yeah,
I'll post it here and then I'll share it online as well.
that's right. So basically, you can go online and register. Station sponsors $1,200. The team sponsors $600, and the gold sponsor, which is a lot of recognition. Usually, businesses do that sponsorship. Is $2,500, but that also comes with 2 teams. But this is for a good cause, guys. This is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's going to be a really good event. It was a great event last year. My wife and I, we attended every year since they've had it. It's a really, really, really good event, and you will not be disappointed in this event. It's going to be great. And we always have a bunch of great giveaways. I know Lance and the guys here, they donated a gun last year, and we're going to have other gifts as well. So come out, be a part of it, be a part of the community. I think everybody will really enjoy it.
Anything to add?
I'm over here just Vanna Whiting some guns for you.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we got the advertisements out of the way. We're going to skip random thoughts tonight, except to say, for Cash Patel.
Thank God.
And we're going to get right into the guns. So let me hear this. You guys probably know Mike Santiago.
Soft Taco.
Soft talking?
Saint.
He's known by many names, depending on what he's guilty of at the time.
Said on camera.
But y'all may if you've been in the shop lately, you know Mike's working with us now. He's helping.
Here, back there.
Yeah, he's helping me out in the custom shop and building some nice ARs. And we're on the road to Bolt Gun Nirvana. Yeah,
Yeah. Gonna build some cool stuff?
we are. Let
We
me
got
see.
some
Let me
cooking.
see. Let me see that one.
Yeah. What is that?
Oh yeah, I built this one.
This is one that was commissioned by.
Keeping it in front of you.
Actually, it's a pretty good sized shop, pretty well known shop down in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Nick, who's the manager at the shop there, commissioned this gun from us. Of course, I think he made a bad choice on the caliber, but you know, that's his. If he's willing to pay me, I'm willing to build it.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, this rifle happens to be an 8.6 Blackout. Features a 13-inch Craddock precision barrel. Of course, it's mated to our action. It's made for us by Prestine. With 20 MOA pick rail on top. We went ahead. Nick said he didn't want his triggers just like mine, so we put a Timney Elite Hunter in here, so we could tune it down to about 1.2 pounds. He didn't like my 8-ounce trigger.
I love it. Nice soft trigger.
And we've set this in the Wooks Furiosa.
Beautiful stock.
His
Yes.
stock adjusts for everything. Lots and lots of room. If you're, if you're building a short gun like this, of course, is an SBR. Yes,
I just noticed Chip Holland joined us.
Chip, great to have you, brother.
And if anybody's in Jackson,
Go see Chip at the range. If you need a place to shoot, they're the guys.
we got Rusty Grills.
Hey, Rusty. We wish you'd come back and visit with us. Rusty, we had a great visit with Rusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go back on the YouTube and
The YouTube.
and
The
Not
YouTube.
but the.
The YouTubes.
okay.
YouTubes.
If you go back on the YouTubes
You can find that on the interwebs.
and we went a long time that night, but we covered a lot of really good stuff. And I thought Rusty was going to give an altar call,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I believe he would have had some people come down.
There you go.
But if you ever want to see the absolute pinnacle of what I'm not saying politician, I'm saying elected official should be, watch that show with Chris Todd and Rusty. Richard Archie was here, and myself.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That it was a great
We
show.
love our Constitution.
Yes, and they actually absolutely show what statesmanship is.
Absolutely.
Um,
I feel like there's not enough of that these days.
so anyway, this rifle's got a 1 in 3 twist. We're get where it's not absolutely freezing your butt to the bench when you go to the range. We've got to get it out and do the
Yeah, because I went out Tuesday and it was not fun.
get out and get some groups with it, and get it on its way to Nick there at Tidewater Tactical for them to play with. I think he's already got his can sitting there waiting. So yeah, really that package come out really nice.
I like it.
It's beautiful.
And I'll tell you what, when you shoot it, because I shot it in the test tank. You did too.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
I slept since then.
I mean, this
I
thing's
even built this rifle.
so it's got less recoil than a 9mm.
Literally.
Yeah, I was really surprised.
I mean, it's just
Literally.
pink.
So, do you think maybe we should display what the actual round looks like, or no? Because a
Want me
lot
to
of
grab
people aren't familiar with 8.6.
Well, it's going away soon.
We haven't covered that too much on here for a reason.
I get it. No,
Well,
I get it.
no, I mean the Hornady 338 Arc is going to put the 8.6 Blackout out of business. It's going to be superior on so many levels.
You can shoot your 375 Raptor.
And it's not just hating on the 8.6. It's just why
Well, when you have all these other rounds to pick from.
the 338 Federal, which all you had to do was run a 308 case to a sizing die and speed the twist up, and you could do everything that's doing and more, and still have a great supersonic cartridge, and it would perform on the subsonic side.
Probably have quite a bit more range as well.
This was just something that somebody with a big ego and a great marketing department.
Won't you tell us how you really feel?
You don't have to wonder. Decided to do and try to push some of his garbage on the market.
Nikki Jackson's here.
Hey, Nikki.
Gabarge.
And now it's going to fall, like a lot of things, right back in their lap. So, Hornady, I think every company that's picked up the 8.6 Blackout cartridge, major company like a Remington or like a Vista Outdoors
Can't
or
mass produce it and make money.
Hornady or any of them have all dropped it. But they're all gearing up for the Arc. Hornady's the power behind the Arc. So, and we see what the 6 Arc's doing. It's taking over. The 22 Arc came out blazing, and for good reason.
What's the velocity on that? How fast is that?
Well, you're running a 90-grain bullet out of a case this big, over 3,000.
I was going to say 33 is what I read. I didn't know how accurate that
Now, here's the thing.
Figured Toodles over here could answer the question.
That cartridge was developed to run at about 62,000 PSI. When it went to SAMI, which is the Sporting Arms and Ammunition Manufacturers Institute that sets the standards, the industry standards, and they did their work with it. They brought it out with an industry standard of 52,000.
Okay.
And it's one of the few times I've seen this done where they actually called out certain companies and said because of the inferior products they were making and the metallurgy in their products, there was so much of that out there. And we won't call names, but PSA and Bear Creek. That they were scared of shearing lugs off and other things on these guns. What?
You just moved over.
Nothing.
He's getting scared to be near me.
Well, when you start calling out big companies,
They know it. I mean,
He tells them every week.
this is nothing new.
I don't know. I just seen a red light. Just wanted to scoot over a little bit.
I mean, the dude that owns PSA went on national TV and admitted it.
Right.
Yes, we make cheap stuff. A lot of our stuff is junk, but people want cheap guns. That's what the man said.
Well, cheap guns. So let's get back on the cheap gun thing. And I think that takes us down a different path, right?
I mean, we get off on rabbit trails here.
So
All the time.
we got a cheap gun. I think we're going to talk about tonight. That's,
No. There's a difference. We have a gun that was inexpensive at the time. It was built as an economy model, but it was never cheap.
Oh, that's true.
Cheap, we're talking about subpar materials. We're talking about bad metallurgies. We're talking about just don't care in production.
Just throwing it together.
Right. Now, some of the guns we're going to talk about tonight, yes, they're economy guns. And I think there's some great economy guns. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about, this major topic for tonight. That really deserve a lot of respect. They deserve to be recognized and not forgotten.
Well, they've earned their place.
They have.
Yeah.
But these others haven't and won't. So anyway, getting back to we're going to get back to 22 ARC, where you asked about, when you can actually run this thing up to 62,000, and let's say you're running at a good, I don't know, say BCM or, one Wilson or some of the
Not cheap.
good quality
Yeah.
AR stuff.
Yeah.
Run it in one of ours. It wouldn't bother me to put 62,000 through one of our guns.
Yeah.
Eric Ferguson says he likes cheap.
Well, there's a difference between cheap and
Eric, we see the
expensive.
guns you pick out. We know that's a lie.
I hope Kenley's listening.
Uh-huh.
Kenley, if you're listening, I want you to get 2 hands full of his beard and pull. Please. But anyhow, if you run this thing up 62,000 or put it in a bolt gun, like one of the little solid bolt guns like that, or maybe a 700 or a Model 70, that was Savage 110.
110, yeah.
And run that thing up 62,000, now that 80 grain bullet starts jumping up there really close to $4 grand.
That's moving.
Jumping up there around 38, 50, 39.
Get that head pressure locked in. That way it can't go anywhere but out the other end. You know.
And it gets real impressive.
Yeah.
This person that shall remain nameless, but his coffee cup's on the table, made most of the test barrels for that, for Hornady.
That's awesome.
And did a lot of early testing with it in the prototype stuff, where it was the 62,000 PSI stuff. And I mean, it was like, jeez, this is like shooting a freaking laser.
Those guys are industry leaders, literally. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize that or even recognize that. There's a lot of work that goes in on the backside of all this stuff that people wouldn't even think. You know, testing head pressure and so on and so forth on all this stuff. And these tests are
Keeping brass from flowing when you're
Yes.
getting into the higher pressure stuff,
Yeah.
and keep it, finding the right.
trial and error, you know, thousands of rounds and thousands of hours to make sure that this gun operates the way it should.
New guy wants to know, when can he be a guest on Thursday?
Anytime you want to.
You hear that?
You
Anytime
have been
want to.
invited more than once,
You just don't show up.
and you've stood us up more than once.
Uh-huh.
Please continue, young man.
No. I'm just saying that, you know, the
No.
name that is not spoken,
Right.
they spend thousands of hours and thousands of rounds
Yeah.
to make sure that this stuff is correct.
A lot of people don't realize, and I'm just messing around when I say the name is not spoken.
No.
It's a lot of people don't realize, just how behind the scenes, how much of what's out there Paul Craddock had a hand in.
Sure.
You know, it's kind of cool. We walk around a trade show together, and you know, I'm the guy that buys for WHMC, which in certain trade shows means something, and other trade shows don't mean anything, right? But no matter where we go, when they see that on C. Craddock's name badge that you have to wear around these things, it's like little groupies.
Yeah.
Well, you know, other little barrel companies. This one guy's standing there, and he's trying to sell me his barrels, and I'm sure the guy makes a pretty good $50 AR barrel. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what he was telling me I could buy them for. So I'm sure for a $50 AR barrel, the young man made a fine barrel. And Paul had been talking to somebody across the aisle. And he walks over and joins me. And we're standing there listening to him. He's telling me this, telling me that. I said, man, I appreciate your time. You know, I can't argue about the price on your barrels. You know, this, that, and the other. He said, well, may I ask you, you know, who do you get your barrels from now? I said, him? He looked at his thing and went, oh. Now he's over wanting to shake Paul's hand. He's like, we make barrels. We make barrels. We do. But nothing like yours, Mr. Craddock.
No, we make toilet paper rolls.
I mean, no, I don't want to talk bad about this guy because I think he was, you know.
No, I mean, there's a slot for everybody to get started, right?
You know, I don't, because the guy was, I really enjoyed talking to the guy. He's a nice guy, and he knew what the hell he was talking about.
Sure.
But what he was doing, he just, you know, let's face it, Paul's put a lot of time, effort, and blood, sweat, and tears into building the name that he's
Thousands of
built.
hours.
Yeah. And that young man just, I don't know if he's going to, but he was not where he could have done that yet. But he was a nice young man, and he did know when to respect his betters.
You got to earn your keep in that space. Yeah.
But on the other hand, I will tell you this: he was offering me the same price that he offered for OEM at big quantities. So,
Yeah, that's good.
you know, he's a nice young man, but just show you, he had a lot of confidence in everything in his product. And then when Paul walked up, it was,
He didn't have so much confidence in it, did he?
I don't think he lost the confidence in his product or himself.
He was
But
a
I think he
fanboy.
Respected
I think he was
some of this been
maybe,
around the block already.
Yeah.
I think maybe a little intimidated.
Yeah.
And Paul's not intimidated, or to me, he's not.
No. Keith said it's a date.
Okay,
What date? Who knows?
so we've showed him that little gun.
Yeah.
So let's get to what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about forgotten legends. And there's been a lot of guns back through history, a lot of cartridges back through history that were really revolutionary at the time. And, you know, maybe they filled a gap. And something come along that's a little more efficient, or did this a little better, or that a little better, and it caught on and this one dropped off. Those kind of things. There's some that were that outperformed their spot
Most definitely.
and was taking money away from the places the manufacturers wanted it. But we got primarily three rifles we're going to look at tonight. One we're going to talk more about than anything else. Let me have this one. This little gun right here is literally a one of a kind. It started out as it's a Japanese-made gun. You can see the.
Yeah, I see that.
And it was made in 32 caliber at the time. It since has been modified to shoot 32-20, original 32-20 type ammo.
Yeah.
But is that not just the cutest little thing?
Look at the craftsmanship in this old stuff, though. It's unbelievable to see how many hours do you think it took to build that?
There's no telling
We
because
can ask Andrew about the checkering.
you know, even if you look how precise, and this they didn't have CNCs.
No. All this is hand built.
And you got to understand, this is Japan. This isn't the U.S. So
What year is it?
this would have been prior to World War II.
Okay, so the quality of steel in this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah, this would have been prior to World War II. But just
Look at the wood. Yeah,
look at the way it matches up,
it's
and
unbelievable.
just, I mean, it's one of a kind. You're not going to see another one.
That's pretty awesome.
But this design, look how dainty.
Yeah.
You know,
Thanks, Dave, for shooting tigers.
you don't see this anymore.
Tigers, huh?
Tigers.
You know, they want to make a 12 gauge size frame and then put everything on.
That's right.
You know, here they built to scale,
Yeah.
and they
On a
built
frame
this.
they can run everything off of.
You know, and I love the way it breaks
Yeah, that's
from here.
pretty awesome.
I know you've never seen one, so I'll hand it to
I
you.
want to see it. Yeah, I'm drooling over here looking. Of course, I'm into the old stuff, but I'm not, pre-World War, stuff. But some of those Brownings, they have my heart.
You don't say.
Man, gosh, I can't help it. I'm sorry,
Why would you apologize for that?
man. That's tough.
Why would you apologize for having taste?
And I think that's a cultural thing. Michael, you and I are the same age. I think that I kind of have much of an older soul, I would say, than you, because I think that your taste is much different than mine. I think that your taste is much different than mine.
You're talking so low, you probably need them.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Michael, I think your taste is much different than mine. You probably go in and you find the coolest, most radical thing that you could look at it. Is that accurate?
Close.
Yeah. But so I walk in, and Tom has seen me do
More
this.
of, like functionality and
Yeah.
purpose and-
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom has seen me do this a million times. The first rack I go to is right over there in that corner. And the reason being is I think, I grew up around a bunch of old men, and the old Brownings and the old Remington rifles and the old, the BDLs, ADLs and all this stuff. And, you don't see that stuff anymore. They're all locked away in somebody's safe.
How long did it take you to recognize that CDL? I mean, I was just like, no, that don't belong.
Yeah, so it didn't take me long actually. But so a lot of the older stuff is I don't think it's gone. Everybody's like, oh, it's gone. No, it's not. It's locked away in people's safes. And I know a guy that's got a set of Browning A5s, Belgiums, unfired in the box, and that is hands down probably one of the best collections I've ever seen as far as old Brownings. But I'm a Browning old wood guy, and that's the first thing I'll ask for if I'm walking in somewhere, if I'm traveling or whatever. Hey, you got any old wood? And people just look at me like I'm crazy when I ask the question, because I don't fit that year, right? And I think
Sure you do.
I think it's very
There's a
special.
lot of youth that come in
Really?
for the wood guns. and
Honestly,
other guns.
right now there's this group that's probably 25 to 27-ish.
I thought I was all alone, guys.
But their interest is picking up is around World War II.
Okay.
It's like some of these kids realize that the last of that generation's dying out, and you see some of these kids that are going and spending time with the old vets, and they're talking and they're visiting, and they're getting a passion for the M1 Grands or even the 03 Springfields or the stuff from the World War II era, which of course leads them back into some of the the more classic.
Mm-hmm.
The classic guns, it starts giving them appreciation. Even when you looked at an M1 Grand, and you could find them that had amazing walnut in them that were going to get,
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
going to Germany to fight in the Black Forest or something.
Charlie Jar says old wood and blued guns have a soul.
He should know.
They literally do.
They do.
Mike DeLong is
Yep.
asking, can you make a feeder tube for a 32 caliber rifle?
Hell, Frank can make anything. It's just Willie.
Just, Mike, you need to contact the gunsmith.
If you've got the gun, bring it in. Let us take a look. It's entirely possible. So let's look at another gun.
1880s.
1880s. This is a Maynard,
Oh, Maynard.
an old Maynard. Most people have never heard of Maynard, but Maynard made a lot of guns. This one is chambered for 22 extra long.
Not mag.
Nope, extra long.
That's right.
Which was about 1882 or 3 it came out. Was a little bit faster than the long rifle or some of the others at the time. Used 6 grains of powder behind a 40-grain bullet. But it was noted for its accuracy. This is at a time that, there was really a battle in the 22 world for what was going to be the dominant cartridge. You had the Winchester 22 automatic, which was the very first rimfire load with smokeless powder.
Mhm.
Because Winchester had introduced their first semi-automatic 22, and the between the lube on the bullet and the black powder corroding, the gun couldn't work. So they developed the Winchester 22 automatic so their gun could work. And then Remington had to come along behind that, and you didn't hear as much about the Remington 22 automatic, but there was a little bit of it. Honestly, it was kind of just a rip off of the Winchester, which was common back then. And you had the 22 extra long. And then along about that time, somewhere along around that time, 22 long. And those started coming in, 22 long rifle. And we know, from history, we know the 22 long rifle won out. But this is an old Maynard. Y'all thought it was going to be a drop breach, didn't you?
I really did. Yeah.
But no, it's a break
Break
action. Of course, early hammer fire system. I believe you could put 30-06 in that chamber area, and it would hold. This particular rifle, while at the time would have been quite fancy.
Yeah.
You had 2 types of sights.
Look at all the woodwork.
Oh, yeah. I mean, from here you had your tang sight.
Mm-hmm.
You had 2 different leaf sights. If you notice, your front sight's enclosed. I mean, this was a rich man's rifle.
No doubt.
Probably cost $12.
Look at the piece down here. Wonder what the original cost of it was.
I bet I'm not far off.
You're probably not. No.
Because when this gun came out, a Colt Single Action Army was $17.
Yeah. Probably not far off.
This gun's probably a whole $12. Might have been a little more. But the bore in this old gun's still good, and chamber's still good.
And it's tight.
It's tight. And what a lot of people don't realize, you shoot 22 long rifle in it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to do a lot of it because just like shooting a lot of 38 in a 357 chamber, you can ring the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody just wanted to get it out and shoot it and enjoy it, you can shoot 22 long rifle, 22 long. any of that in here. But see what you think about that.
I like that.
Here, I'll hold the mics.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty unique. I mean, and so obviously, we go back to quality as well, right? When you pick this up, it feels like quality.
Yeah.
It literally.
Real wood, real metal.
Yeah, absolutely.
From a gun from the 1880s. I mean, it's tight.
Dude, if this thing could tell stories, just imagine.
We got guns from the 1980s
Oh,
that aren't near the quality and
100%.
and that is. But I think we're gonna get to that here in a minute.
Yeah, and I mean, so going back to old guns like this, and I hold a gun like this, and the first thing that comes to mind is, what stories could this thing tell if it could talk? And
Oh, it'd be phenomenal.
it would be unbelievable. And and I think I'm not sure the gentleman earlier said that old guns have old souls, and I think that's a very accurate statement. It's really, I mean,
He's another one. You should know Charlie.
I don't know Charlie.
You remember
Dad probably knew him.
Steve Jar that used to come in here and hang
Yeah.
out with Walter? Charlie's his son.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you and Charlie ain't too far different in age.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in this place, man. It seemed like, I come in here with my granddaddy and then, Dad and my uncles and all that stuff. And it seems like, man, over the years, I still remember.
Going back to what you were saying about having the old soul and you looking for the old wood guns and blue and
Yeah.
for someone like me that may come in and look for the
Yeah.
coolest, brightest thing on the market. So you had an upcoming around guns. and-
Sure. Yeah.
So I was born in Chicago, moved down here. And
I'm
then
sorry.
We're glad to have him.
educated.
I wasn't really around guns growing up.
No,
I
it's
had
good.
I had a 410
But-
and a 12 gauge break action. Did some rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But didn't really have somebody that brought guns around a lot. So I first got into guns coming back from Iraq in 2009. And of course it was ARs and
Yeah.
so from there
The
I-
black scary
I've
guns.
yeah, the black scary guns.
Oh
So
no.
that's where I started my
What are we gonna do?
my learning.
Well-
And a lot of generations coming down, they're like, "Oh, this is on Call of Duty, or this is on this game, and this is
Yeah.
on that game." That's where they're picking up their gun love.
Yeah.
Well, here's the funny thing. Lance when Lance came here and bought the store and everything, he had a fairly broad knowledge. But if you went to what he knew,
Yeah.
he knew ARs, he knew AKs, probably AKs in that line better than.
Lance loves his AKs.
Oh.
So you talking about AK, and he just smiles. And
But
you snap him out of that phone in that zone, and he's like,
You know-
"AKs, I got you."
it was cool watching him after I got here, watching him evolve.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Being around that stuff and starting to really develop the appreciation.
Sure.
Not that he didn't have it already, but just from that daily interaction with that stuff, it refines.
Absolutely, and it comes to a different level as well. When you're around it every day, it's one of those situations to where it's almost like drinking coffee black. A lot of people can't drink it black. It's a refinement of your taste buds, and it's the same thing when you're around all this old stuff all the time, and you're just looking at it. It's like, man, if that thing could talk, there's no telling what it would say.
Look at how elaborate that lever.
It's unbelievable.
The-
I'm looking at
the
all
breakdown
all the
here is.
machining and
It's beautiful.
literally, how many hours did it take to make this? That's what I ask.
That's not really machinery. That's
Right.
forging at that point.
Literally, yeah. But you can tell it's forged just by holding it.
It's not super heavy, but it's solid.
100%. 1859.
That's a serial number. That gun would have been made probably around 1883, 1884.
Yeah. All the stamped numbers, and that's another thing, obviously.
And they're clean.
Yeah, 100%. And they're in line. This is when people took pride in what they did. And today, we talked about the cheap line earlier, just throwing something together, my dad always used to say, I don't care what you do. You go flip burgers, I want you to be the best damn burger flipper there is. And these guys had that, gun makers. But you can look at some of the stuff and the tolerances, that was, I mean, how awesome is that? And they thought about everything. It's like the old Maldeus.
Still going strong.
Jeez, man.
Invented in 1912,
Yeah.
mass-produced in 1918, and the only change they've made to it was added a safety.
Yeah.
1911,
And same.
P-35.
Yeah. And
Oh, wait a minute. What do all these things have in common?
they were all built a long time ago.
What do they all
People
have?
used to take pride in what they,
No, they all have something else in common.
John Browning.
John Browning.
Yeah. Yeah, John Browning.
John Browning.
So, John Browning has a descent in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. There's a part of his family that live in Memphis, Tennessee, and they own a construction company. So, just a little tidbit of information if you guys didn't know that. And so I walked into this guy's office not too long ago, and I was having a conversation with him. And I look up, and there's a picture, and I'm like, your last name's Browning? I was putting two and two together, and I'm looking at a picture, and I'm like, no, tell me it's not real. He said, yeah, it's real. So, do a little research. I think you probably figure it out pretty quick. But it's very interesting to see some of that stuff. But he even had old blueprints. Well, not necessarily blueprint. They were drawings of some of this stuff. And it was pretty awesome. And I ended up talking to this guy for like 3 hours. And it should have been a 30-minute conversation. But I got involved.
Business kind of went out the window
Yeah,
quick,
I
didn't
mean,
it?
unfortunately it did. But it was awesome.
Would you trade it?
No. Not for 1 second.
So, now we're going to move along to tonight's star.
Uh-oh. I'm going to lay this up here.
Yep, that's a good place to put it. The star of tonight's show. The Remington
788.
Model 788.
This is your baby.
Yeah, so these... Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was going to move.
Oh, hold on.
We're having technical malfunctions.
So these old guns, a lot of people don't know anything about these. And they just think that, they're just an old Remington rifle, and which they are. They're just an old Remington rifle. There's not a lot of meaning to them. There was only about 540,000 of them made. They were made from 1967 to 83, I believe. Yep.
I thought it was 65.
I think it's 67. I could be wrong on that.
Well, I wouldn't argue because you've probably spent more time researching them than I have.
Yeah, I got a few of them, and they kind of have my heart, and it not because of anything. It's just because of the story of why they started making them and why they stopped making them. So, Tom, I'll let you elaborate if you want.
You know, every company tries to come out, or eventually they try to come out with an economy line.
Yeah.
Charlie
Well-
said, "Don't lose the magazine."
No,
So
don't lose the magazine.
So I have an excess of magazines, and there's a reason for that. So
I would not say that because I mean that's
they're not
like,
for sale.
well, that's probably more valuable than Fort Knox.
I know.
Because we're not sure what's at Fort Knox.
Well, we will know soon enough. We hope.
Elon gonna go in there and find out.
Live stream it, baby.
But anyway, companies have forever tried to have an economy line. We've seen Remington in the last several years, come out with miserable failures.
What was that one they come out with?
Was it?
788 or whatever it was? No.
No, that's 788.
Yeah, no. They came out with a note 740.
710, 783,
83, that's what it was.
750 or 7. They've come out. They were plastic pieces of junk that they failed miserably with, which seemed to have been the tone for Remington at that time.
Unfortunately.
However, if we go back to the 60s, when Remington, the big R,
Yeah.
the green, was dominating and doing some of its best work it's ever done, they came up with the 788. y'all pick this gun up so people can see. And they did a lot of things for cost cutting. Okay, the diameter of the action is the exact same as a 700. But rather than cutting the raceways or lugways in here, they didn't bother with
They
that.
didn't care. Yeah.
They didn't. There's no boat lockup up here. All the lockup is back here.
Yeah. Old boats up there just moving around.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing runs as much as the Boston Marathon. But it's 9 lugs
That's right.
that lock in right back here. And there's no way it should work.
That's what they said. Oh,
It would be passable. Because now understand something, guys. At the time this rifle was being built, if you got a rifle out of a factory that shot 2 inches, it was amazing.
yeah.
If you had a 1-inch gun, you had guards on it.
Yeah.
People spent huge amounts of money to get a gun to shoot 1 inch. So, if this thing shot 4 or 5 inches and it was half the cost of a 700, Remington figured, it's all good, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a problem with that idea.
Remington's big oopsie. This is Remington's big oopsie. Like,
No,
hey,
this is where Remington missed.
the market. Yeah.
They missed the chance.
Yeah.
Not saying anything else. 700's most recognized bolt action. Some people would argue
Probably
the
in the
Car
world.
98, but no. 700 Remington. But the way they made this thing, not having to have raceways, the ejection port's smaller. There's more metal in it. There's more metal here between these areas. So this action is stiff.
The old magazine in it, just
Oh, yeah.
look at it. I mean,
It's
it's
sheet
just,
metal.
It's junk. Yeah.
But these actions are really stiff.
Hey, hold on now. Don't do that.
Excess.
Settlement time.
Which created a potential for accuracy because the stiffness and the rigidity of the action.
Right.
Now, around this time, there was an old saying that was out. People would, it's kind of a play on words, said, the heart of a Remington's the barrel.
And that was no lie.
And at that time, probably one of the very top, we talk about Birtland and, some of those now. Well, at that time, it was Hart. Great barrels. And Remington was fitting guns with Hart barrels. And these guns got Hart barrels. And what happens, they come out, and you could go get a 788
For $109
in
with a scope.
30-30. And that blame thing might come out of the box shooting an 1.5 inches
If not better.
or better. Yeah, I say. But, it was regular. 1.5 inches was not,
Oh, no.
it was just,
Out of the box. Literally. Yeah.
you go, no, it ain't like you pick up one that performed a little better than the others. And people, 1.5 inches, I wouldn't have it. In 1965, you'd have been bragging to everybody in the country about it.
And that's what happened.
Then folks said, oh, well, what happens if we bet it?
Yeah.
What happens if we bet
Float
the
it.
action?
Yeah.
Oh, now we're going to float it.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, this thing's all of a sudden sub 1 inch.
Sub. Super sub.
People couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
Guys are trying to hand load just so they can get something to keep up with the rifle.
Yeah.
Of course, the 700's still over here shooting 2 inches. And people, at that time, that's not bad. That's not an insult.
No, it's not.
It's not an insult. You could get a 700 all day long to shoot 2 inches. You occasionally get one out of the box and shoot down there at 1.5 inches. But the 788s were outperforming it. Now, the Achilles heel of the 788 is because of this rear lockup, it was not as strong as the 700.
Right.
So it limited the cartridges.
Well, during that time, you could literally buy 3 of these to one 700. That's the cost difference, and it was just, it was a no-brainer.
But as you get in, you know, get toward the end of the run, during the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and people were demanding more Magnum cartridges and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where now we would, in today's market, we would see if it's performing, hell with it, keep
Yeah.
shooting it.
That's right.
You know, we're not all, you know, at that time was the day of the belted Magnums. You had the Weatherby Magnums, the Rim Mags, the Wind Mags, every, you know, you had the age of the belted Magnum.
That's right.
And, you know, I can remember in the early 90s where if it wasn't a 7 mag, they didn't think it'd kill a deer.
Blow right through it.
You know, we look at things now. We're back. We've gone this circle. We're back to let's get a cartridge about this big.
Yeah. And a bus on the end of it.
You know,
Yeah.
with a 300 grain bullet.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And-
yeah.
You know, make it efficient. But I
Keep
think
our meat that way.
Well, this is true.
the downfall for the 788 one was you're getting into by the time it was dropped, you're getting into the time of Remington's been sold. It's
Mm-hmm.
the bad decision making.
Mhm.
You know what led to bankruptcies and every other
Mhm.
thing, and the fact that it wouldn't hold Magnum cartridges.
Yep. And
They
they literally put the cheapest wood they could find on it.
they did because when it started out selling the 700s so badly, they're like,
Yeah.
"What can we do?"
Yeah.
So they did. I mean, the early wood, and you see this, somewhere along about 1975.
Mm-hmm.
You
That-
see
That was the one I had in here a couple days ago.
you see you see his change. I mean, it goes from some nice, not nice wood, but
Oh, it's decent.
decent wood.
I
It's-
think that one's pretty.
No.
The-
The earlier ones were.
Oh, I'm
way
sure it was,
nicer.
but
Yeah.
this one is not ugly.
Well, it's got
No.
that whatever
But it's
that
that-
stuff is on it there.
It's that
like
darker look.
yeah.
And when you got later into it, I mean, they were nearly tan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they were light.
Well, that one I have, that other one that I had in here a couple days ago that had you guys clean, it was almost orange.
Yes, it was.
Yep. And
So-
and
But yeah, they would put the crappiest piece of wood they could
Yeah.
find on them.
Yep.
And I believe they intentionally tried to make the triggers bad.
oh gosh, man, you could jump up and down on that trigger and it still wouldn't work. You know, it's
But of course, you know, what did that take? Pull it apart, one, clean the crap out of the trigger.
Yep.
And if you lived around here, you took it to Frank.
that's right.
And at that time, if Frank was too busy, believe it or not, there was 2 other guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3. Fred Boyd, Richard Hamilton,
Yep.
or
Richard.
Leroy Bates. Two of the 3 of them are dead now.
Mhm.
Richard and Leroy have both passed on. I think Mr. Fred's still hanging in.
Do you know Danny Kitzman?
I do. Hey, Danny.
Frank's the tank.
You should go back and read what he says.
There's no telling what he said.
Is it not something we're reading on air?
He says you like boys.
Stop, Kitzman.
That's what he said. Redeem yourself. Go ahead.
No, I don't have to.
So
At
here's
least
the
it's his
thing.
friends picking on him and not Zach picking on me.
I know.
And here was the cool thing. You know, the 788s. Once you know, okay, so they made the triggers bad. You go in and clean the triggers up. You still buy 3 for 1.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They would outshoot the
3.5 to
700.
1 actually, if you really want to get technical.
And then those smart people, even back then, when we had the guys that were shooting 6 BRs and 7 BRs and fireballs and those things, you know, they were going around buying up 788s
Mm-hmm.
to get the action.
Exactly.
They didn't need all that other. They wanted that extra steel in that action to
Yeah.
keep it rigid, rebarreling them.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, better triggers, and they were making. That was the basis for many, many, many match rifles.
Well, you know,
Were there some of these in the military?
What were you gonna say?
well,
Josh?
I was going to say, you know, speaking of the match rifle situation, you know, my dad owned a lot of really high-end rifles, and what I mean by high-end is I'm not going to say any names, but I'm not Tom. I'm not going to say any names, but you know,
Go ahead.
some of those rifles were like literally one-hole rifles. What I call a one-hole rifle. 100 yards, you shoot the same hole every time. If not, they're touching.
Mhm.
And those old 788s will do the exact same
Same
thing. I mean, literally the exact same thing. And you know, it goes back to the old saying: is, you know, buy a $300 rifle, put a $500 set of glass on it. That, you know, you go back and those old 788s, they're shooters. And
And here's the thing, to complement what you're saying, it didn't matter what caliber. If you
No.
fed it decent ammunition, consistent ammunition, it didn't matter if it was the 30-30 or the 44
Yeah.
or the 222.
yeah.
It didn't matter.
When that rifle right there was bought new, it was $114.37. I had the original box for it, and I think it came with a scope, if I'm not mistaken, because they sold them with or without the scope. And of course, that's some decent glass that's on it. And you know, I would put that rifle right there up against probably any high-end rifle today within 100 or 200 yards. It's going to sit there and shoot and shoot and shoot. That rifle right there will outshoot anybody we know. You know, you're only as good as who you are. That rifle's going to outshoot the person every day.
And I made the comment to Michael earlier. He brought me a sheet where he was starting to work out a bolt action build for himself, and said something about I don't.
With
I think
300
that-
Win Mag over 300 PRC because I can't shoot up to what a 300 PRC is going to do.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, well, if we're building rifles that we can outshoot, we need to quit building rifles.
Yeah. This is true.
If the rifle's not outperforming us,
Mm-hmm.
if we're not the limiting factor,
Yeah.
we need to quit building
That's
rifles.
exactly right.
Charlie Jar said Dad had a 700 and a 788 Varmint 223. Went to South Dakota, got rid of the 700.
Great example.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great example.
You know, I saw a lot of these turned into 6mm bench rest.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, they made them in a 6mm
Remington.
Remington. Yeah.
Bench rest is shorter.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you know it.
No. I
Oh.
was just agreeing with you.
It was an early version of what we're doing today, with the shorter
Mhm.
cartridges and more efficient. But a lot of them were done with 6mm bench rest, 7mm bench rest for, of course, bench rest competition.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would see them taking them out groundhog hunting, like Charlie's talking about, because the bullets, of course, didn't suffer from the wind as badly as the 22s.
That's right.
And they didn't shoot barrels out as fast as the 220 Swift or the 22 250.
The 22-250 is dangerous. My granddaddy had one, and that was a big thing back in the day, right? The groundhog hunting, right? We're gonna ride around and we're gonna try to find an old groundhog 200-300 yards, and the story was is if he was inside 400 yards, he's dead. And you know, granddaddy would lay that gun up there on the hood of the truck and shoot that groundhog, and I've seen it a million times. He just smokes them within that 400-yard range. But realistically, how often are we going to take a shot outside 400 yards? It's probably not going to happen.
You know, here's people's like, well, I can see 1,000 yards down this field.
But can you efficiently do it
You know,
and safely?
You know, the Earth's flat, so of course you can.
Sure. Yeah.
the
Make sure there's a landfill on the other side.
but you know, really, the way the hills roll and other things through West Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
you've just about got to intentionally set up to be able to shoot further than that.
Mm-hmm.
You just, you know,
Yeah, you can go out west. I mean, you have your long shots out there. Your
You know,
prairie dogs and all.
well,
that.
yeah, shooting prairie dogs can be fun.
Oh yeah.
But you know, it's much, and I find out west a good bit. I don't think I've ever shot a big game critter
Out west.
over 200 yards.
Yeah.
And most of them inside of 100.
Mhm.
Now, we've been out there at night shooting them jackrabbits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you turn a light, you know, man, it's spooky. You pop a spotlight on, and it's just great. About this high off the ground, and it's just this sea of circles of green.
Yeah. Little eyes.
And
Doggone ears are that long.
you know, we sit out there and intentionally take long shots on them or prairie dogs. You shoot the ones up close, then have to reach on out and see how far you can shoot one.
Yeah.
But guys, what we're getting to is guns are fun. Shooting guns are fun. And to me, collecting, learning the history, because there's some really cool stuff to find out there. You know, this is Mr. 788. Okay?
No.
It's Mr.
no.
788.
There's a lot of other people out there that know a lot more about them and that probably own a lot more than I do.
But I was able to pull a card on him tonight.
Yeah, he was, and I did not know that. But this is pretty interesting information what he's fixing to relate.
Back when it was the OSS, Office of Strategic
Service.
Strategic Service Strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the OSS for the CIA and all that. MAC, Military Armament Corporation, used the 788 to build their MAC destroyer carbine.
It's just old cheap gun, guys.
Retrofitted it to 9mm,
Mm-hmm.
converted it to run off Walther P38 mags, and of course it was suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their
The weapon of choice.
quiet wet work, I guess.
Yeah.
But the 788 was the gun of choice for the OSS and the U.S. military to build that platform.
That's right. That's right.
So I thought that was pretty doggone neat.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
I started to print the whole story off because
It'd take you 3 years to tell that story.
I went back and looked at the backstory on that gun,
Use the Googles
and
from the interwebs
yeah,
And YouTubes.
and YouTubes.
The YouTubes.
The
and,
YouTubes.
and the Wikipedia. Yeah, the Wikipedia.
Oh my goodness.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm not going to answer that.
If I let Michael sit beside you, he might do something that surprises you.
Well, for what Danny Kitzman said.
But
Oh,
anyway,
he added more. I didn't read it.
anyway, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed. You guys got anything y'all want to bring out?
No.
You guys got anything you want to talk about? You got anything you want to talk about?
No.
No?
I do.
No? What?
We've got 22 suppressors.
Got a lot of 22s.
A lot of 22 suppressors. So all you people that have been wanting 22 suppressors, we have them.
Come on
What's
down.
the average wait time?
2 to 12 days.
Cool.
Yeah, guys, NFA's still turning good and quick. We did get a fresh supply of, when she says 22 cans, she's not talking about how many cans we have in the house. She's talking about rimfire.
Rimfire only.
We've got
22.
10 different ones.
We got 10 different rimfire cans,
Yes.
10 different styles.
And the others, we got way more than 22 cans in there.
Yeah, I mean, we got, but we've been selling out pretty quick on all the different rimfire cans because, of course, we're getting in that time of year. People are starting to think about that.
It's just fun to shoot.
They are fun to shoot, and you'll use them more than any other can. It'll be the one you use the most. So we got some really, really cool stuff in.
I love my 22 can. Well, it's not a can. It's integratedly suppressed, but it's awesome.
We got those too.
Yeah.
Yep, right there.
Yep.
We got
It's
And we've got
4 or 5.
7 of them.
now some of those empty tubes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we got some of the cans you guys might not have had a chance to hold and see in person, like how do we say it? And
Anechoic.
Anechoic.
I don't know if that's
don't
how you
know.
pronounce it, but
It feels plastic, but it's
oh my
super,
goodness.
super quiet.
titanium.
yes.
Thing's got the biggest blast chamber I have ever seen in a rimfire can.
yeah. I seen that the other day. I was looking at it, and I was like,
And I mean,
holy crap!
let's face it, volume equals quiet,
That's right.
and that's just snatching the soul out of the gas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we may have shot indoors and only heard the action.
Yeah.
You may have.
May have.
May have.
In the test tank.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, that's what it was.
But we've got
That's about the way it sounded.
Huxworks, we've got Rugged, we've got Silencer Co., we've got Anechoic, we've got
I'd like to say something on that Silencer Co. I assume that's a hybrid.
there's a hybrid in there.
Okay. Yeah, so that is a phenomenal can. It's really good. I have that can. I also have the,
Give it a 46.
and also have the Primal, the Dead Air Primal, and that thing is phenomenal.
Let me ask you, which one do you think's quieter?
The Primal.
I've always
That's
thought
one
the
of the
Primal
questions.
was just a little bit quieter.
The Primal. Now, obviously, I don't have a decimal reader or meter,
No,
but I can tell when I put it on at 300. I know that Primal's quieter. You can literally tell the difference.
and you know what?
We don't have any right now.
And you know what I think it is? I think it's the tone. I think it brings the tone down.
Maybe. Either way, I mean, either one of them, they're extremely quiet.
They're both good. They're both
Yeah. But
really
that
good
primer,
cans.
That Primal is just phenomenal. I mean, it's a really good can.
Me
We're on
personally,
stock right now, so don't get your hopes up.
Well,
I mean,
Sorry.
personally, I asked him the question. I opened the door.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had both, shot both.
I have a 46.
They're all
I
floating
love it.
around.
Yeah.
We got both between here,
My
between Lance
5.56,
and I.
my 300 Blackout, my 308 to 375 Raptor, and
Yeah.
And I've noticed, I think the Primal's a tad bit quieter, but I don't think it's a huge significant difference.
my funnest can to shoot, and it's not a can; it's integratedly suppressed. Is that Gemtech Mist? That thing is stupid. I mean, it's literally, and that's all you hear, and it's pretty awesome. I think I told y'all the story about when I was coyote hunting with it one day.
Yeah, shot 3 dogs. and
Three
they didn't
dogs,
even
and
know it.
they didn't even know what happened. Like the first one come out, he looked at me, and he winded me, and I shot him, and like he starts barking and running in circles, and then the other one comes, and I shot him dead, and then the other one just comes bouncing out of the woods like a little bunny rabbit, and I'm fixing, I'm gonna get you too, bow, and none of them knew what was going on, but it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's amazing. And if you haven't shot silenced, suppressed, or whatever you want to call it, you need to. You need to try it. You'll find out why the rest of the world nearly requires it.
It's definitely a game changer, and especially, if you're shooting ARs and stuff like that, if you can get your gas right and make sure everything operates correctly, it's a total game changer.
Well, the reason 1934, but NFA Act, but the real reason that we have such a problem trying to get suppressors off NFA is nothing but Hollywood.
Oh yeah, that's true.
People have been programmed
Silencers, man.
watching TV that the only people that want silencers are people doing bad things,
That's true.
and it's actually nothing could be further from the truth.
That's 100% accurate. Yeah. Then you had the guy that.
me and my wife were watching a show where they were special operations and they're using silencers. They're shooting 3 guys side by side. I'm
Yeah.
like, trust me, in a room that small,
That is not
the
how
2
that
other
works.
guys are going to know the first guy got shot.
Yeah.
Not sit there and go on about playing cards while
Mm-hmm.
one dude's down. And
Yeah, that's
Or what's that movie? No Country for Old Men. Isn't that what it was? The guy that had the shotgun
Sure.
silencer.
We have some.
It's not like that. However, that Gym Tech,
the closest you will get to movie quiet is a suppressed rimfire.
dude, that Gym Tech mist is literally, it's almost movie quality, and it's very, very impressive.
Well, guys, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I hope y'all had fun.
Had a good time.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope there was something in there that y'all could get a hold of.
Don't forget about the FCA shoot. It's super important that we.
Watch our website, our website. Watch our Facebook. We don't have a calendar site, I don't think, available on our website. So we have to do it on Facebook and
Yep.
Instagram and those places. So whichever of them you use,
the Twitters,
that's the X's,
the X.
YouTubes.
the YouTubes, the X's. Over at Elon's house.
Yeah. He don't
Oh.
even own a home. I don't know what you're talking about.
The X's.
It's got a Connex.
Texas.
Yeah, the X's.
Yeah.
So
Goodness.
we'll be putting that information out there. It'll be, of course, up here in the store. If you're not where you can come see us at the store and you want to peruse our wares,
Mm-hmm.
WHMCguns.com.
Mm-hmm.
We welcome you there, just like we welcome you here.
Whole small 6-bar distributors. Not meaning we have it in store in stock.
It just says it's
It's
Available.
guys. With that, I am going to say, as always, God bless America. God bless you. We're out.